right. Hello, folks. This is the generally beautiful and moronic HAC with my live action hands. Apologies for the microphone sound. All of this is coming straight from my phone, and well, it is what it is. Welcome to a very different and experimental episode of the HAC Show. It's episode 226. And for today's episode, well, because we're doing something a little bit new, since Jack's not here, and I decided I wanted to be a little bit creative. Just a little bit. Let me bring this into frame. Oh man. I decided to test out the my phone streaming feature to number one. I should put my hands up front. Oh, by the way, the I'll repeat this, but I'm wearing gloves because my actual hands are not very appealing to look at, so you get my glove hands instead. You know, it is not to protect the stuff I have here now, it's just so you don't guys look at my weird hands. But yeah, this is like I said, this is the first. Now it's not my first time filming, with any type of camera. For anyone who's been around with the Jack show since the beginning, when I used to do more regular comic reviews, I would literally film them on my phone, and you would constantly see my weird hands all the time. Eventually, when I moved on to do more proper editing, and instead of just, raw recording like I'm doing right now, that went away. But I've been wanting to do something like this for some time, just to see if I can expand the type of content that I would like to make. So this explains why this is going on here. And again, since it's only just me, there's no Jack for this Jack Show episode, I figured why not this would be a prime opportunity to do something like this. So now that brings to the question: what's all this stuff right here? What's all this? Why is there a Star Wars DVD? Why is there Electra over here? Why is there? Oops! I almost the tripod there. Yeah, it's on a tripod. See, I can move it. Oh, yes, right. I can move it like this. Hey, yo, there you go. Get a little sneak peek at my room. But yes, why is all this stuff here? Well, I wanted to keep this episode rather simple because number one, I don't know how much battery doing this type of mobile live stream is going to drain on it. So I want to do something that's relatively simple. And two, honestly, I just want to do something just kind of like a live show and tell of what I've been watching, reading, playing, listening. Just me sharing my interest. So, with all of that said, all that preamble, I believe it's time to start with something a bit more simple and more straightforward, and that would be. So I can do something with my hands. Yes. Okay. It had to be here. So this one will be short. This one will be short and sweet, but you see, here's my copy of Star Wars Episode 1 of Phantom Menace on DVD. Now, why the heck am I showing this? Is this anything unique about it? Actually, no. Not unless you consider the... Where is it? The digitally remastered version, anything significant. The reason I brought this here, because I actually found myself rewatching it over the weekend, mostly to listen to the audio commentary by George Lucas and many other what's that word I'm looking for? Filmmakers. There you go. Filmmakers who worked on this film, because I have I'm maybe not the minority opinion, but I'm definitely of the more derided folks who actually do enjoy this movie. Is it the best Star Wars movie? No, but it's definitely not the worst. And even the worst, well, excluding the sequels, because I do not consider them canon, just the pure six films, the worst of them is still better than most movies. And episode one, again, not the worst, is I still find entertaining to this day. And I bring this film up because I just been watching a lot of Star Wars related content this past week. in relation to, I guess you could say, in defense, almost, you know what, if I use religious terms here, think of it as apologetics for the prequel movies and how, number one, they were unfairly derided for the time, and number two, they have held up tremendously since then, and especially since the heretical sequel trilogy has released. So this is short, so I just wanted to show that there's nothing new I can really add to this. I just wanted this is what I've been watching. Now, to transition a bit to something that I have actually read today. So here we have, this is a trade paperback of a book called Box 13. So I've actually finished reading this today. And what this is a was originally a digital comic that's been reformatted into a trade paperback volume. Now I don't know. Now before reading this, I have no idea what Box 13 is. I don't know who these creators are, nor have I read any of their previous works. And to be perfectly honest, I got this as like a giveaway in when I went to a comic convention, and there was and this publisher, if I can get the camera focus, there we go, Red 5 Comics, they were essentially handing out a bunch of free books. Which, that was good for them. And I did buy something. I did buy a few books of theirs. A few of them look really, really interesting. But this is just one of the freebies that they gave to me. And so, I read it today. It's a very short read, as you could tell, one of the more thinner trade paperbacks. And because this is a reformatted from a digital comic that was originally on Comixology, may they technically rest in peace, at least the original Comixology. This is a very, very short read. And the best way I can describe this, to be perfectly honest, if I had to really think about it in terms of what the story is and what it's about, this is okay. It's not 1-to-1, but it gets the point across. So this is almost like the Bourne Identity, but instead of your main character secretly being a top secret agent and they don't know it, the main character is secretly being brainwashed by some shadow organization. He's not aware of it, so this character here is Dan. He, up until the start of the story, he was just an author writing books, and he just so happens to be in his latest book writing. I can show the comic. He was writing a book about government mind programs. The one he name drops is the infamous MK Ultra. If you guys know anything about that, and so the whole thing is about mind manipulation and how that affects the main character Dan. As you can see, the comic has a very unique style that I would describe as, let's see, I think the only other type of, I want to be careful what I show here because there are some very saucy parts that you can't really show on YouTube. So it's definitely not. It's definitely a book for older audiences. A lot of violence. No actual nudity, but just a lot of sexual imagery with our main femme fatale, this lady right here, Olivia. No, Chris. I just saw your passing comment. Yeah, where was it? Yeah, this page right here. This is not a monkey right there. Yeah. So as you can see from the art, it's a I believe the technical term is monochromatic. So it has shades of white and black with red for the stark contrast. Very Sin City inspired. And again, don't want to show too much because it is a bit of a saucy book. And I'll put it this way. It's been a while since I read a comic that was like paced really rapidly. Now, I don't know if that was just because of how the digital comic format is made into trade paperback, but as I'm reading this, number one, the chapters are pretty short. As there's 13 chapters, but like it's only like a few pages per chapter. But considering digital comics, you know, something like this, I'm assuming it feels much more longer when looking at a screen. One downside is though, because these was originally digital comic, you have pages like this where they have to make these weird letter boxes for these type of panels that will fill up a digital screen. But here on trade paperback, it just come across awkward. It's a very very uh, weird letterboxing, and I doubt they're gonna try to. And this is the best they can reformat the art to fit the traditional comic layout. But aside from this, the actual panels themselves flow very nicely. And again, this is a quick read. If you're a speed reader, you could finish this in probably under an hour. If you're a regular reader like me, actually within that same time. Because the one thing this book does, okay, right, the track book does amazingly well is that once the mystery properly starts, it does not let up. It ravels on and on and on and on within the next with each chapter as the two characters are trying to search for the truth. So in that way, is like actually I think the best way to describe it. So imagine Born Identity mixed with a almost an Alfred Hitchcock type of story, and when as in like you have a dual protagonist going on this insane adventure as they try to uncover this truth, and the more they dig deeper, the more um, you learn about what's reality about who these characters are. This is not to say that the book does anything that's you haven't seen before. Unfortunately, there was one twist that I pretty caught early on because it is also very tropey. Um, Once you get a feel of who these characters are, you're like, oh, okay, you've seen them in other type of stories before. If you've seen mystery thrillers, spy thrillers, and stuff like that. So really, oh, and also probably my biggest criticism against the book, sadly, is that it ends. I can show the ending because without context it doesn't mean anything. The ending is there's your Akira slide reference. Kind of grown a bit, but I'll forgive it because it's not that big a deal. But there you go. There's your Akira slide reference, or I'm sorry, Akira. Anyways, what's that? Where's that final page again? With no context, it doesn't mean anything. Its story actually rather ends abruptly, and I'm assuming there's probably like a volume two. I haven't looked up if one such exists. If not, it's kind of a shame that they never got to if that the story is unfinished. Yeah, Chris, Akida's Life 4 came egregious. Let's see. I think this I don't know when this was originally published. At least this trade. Let's see. We kind of get some info on that. Printed in Canada. Ooh, da, 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 da. It is 2009, 2010. So actually, yeah, right before it became annoying to see Akira references. Well, only the one Akira reference that people know about, and yet they don't want to reference the rest of the film, or even, God forbid, the other manga series, those phone books worth of stories. Anyways, neither here nor there. So yeah, the story ends very abruptly. Obviously, it's not the full story, but it's also not a satisfying conclusion either. It's anything. It just leaves with more questions than answers. And again, if the story is fully complete, if I look up and there's a second volume, then I'm fine with that because then that means more to read. But if not, then uh, I'm not. I am. I, f- I feel this could have been better. It's you know what this is. It's like when you watch a really good action movie and the action stuff is well done, is well executed. You know there's love and passion behind it, but they didn't spend time with really anything else because the characters are not one dimensional, but they are very by the numbers and full of tropes that again if you read spy fiction, mystery thrillers, spy thrillers, all and everything within that genre, then these characters are not very unique to begin with. But again, I love the visual style. I do love the fast-paced action, and I do very much enjoy the artistry at work. So a lot of great things about it. This is your type of book. I highly recommend it. Just be aware that if you just get volume one, you're not getting the whole story. So something to keep in mind. Then after I finished reading this, I then moved on to read again because I've already read this before when I got the single issues and I get the full trade. Well, actually, hold off on that. So another short subject. This is a DVD I acquired over the weekend at a local flea market. Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West, another one of his epic westerns, and it is a thick box set, 2 discs. Although I don't think you need a big box just for 2 discs. Nevertheless, I actually never seen this movie, so I'm glad I got something like this so I can sit down and watch it. And there you go, see the names there, Harry Fonda and Charles Bronson. Don't know the other two, but I'm sure they are great in the film. I've only ever seen Leone's Dollar Trilogy, so it'll be cool to see stuff he made outside of this collaborations with Eastwood, Eli Rollins, and Lee Van Cleef. That's the gentleman, Lee Van Cleef. So put that aside, short one. All right. So Daredevil, Woman Without Fear. This was actually a miniseries that originally released during Chip Zdarsky's first run on Daredevil, all the way back, running from 2019 to 2022, so fairly recent. And this was a miniseries that released. This was released as it's a 3-issue series that led up to the Daredevil event called Devil's Reign. So that's what it is in terms of where it is chronology and how it and what it leads up to. Now, usually having like a mini series lead up to like an event, they're kind of very much hit or miss, or something that's not worth reading sometimes because it's supplemental material, it's not the main story, and so that could, especially if it's not written by the main creative team, it could lead to a very either by the numbers comic or a comic just not worth reading. But this isn't the case. So, hey Johnny, light up like click on that real quick on the comic. I hope not. I hope not. I bought this from eBay. You never know who were the last owner. I don't know what they did to this book, other than just pull out scratches on it. You could tell from the lens flare. But this Daredevil series, I really rereading it. I actually enjoyed it a lot more. Number one, I think is the fantastic artwork by. Originally, I thought it was Marco Cicchetto, who is a frequent artist on Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run, but no, it's actually Rafael. Hope I'm pronouncing this either De La Torre or De La Torre. I don't know which one, so I think either pronunciation can work. And number one, I think he draws a very beautiful Elektra. I think that was the one thing I was very much awe-inspired by, is that number one, the artist does a great job in drawing all these Marvel characters, especially this great full page of Kraven the Hunter. He makes an appearance. He's our antagonist of this miniseries, which is a surprise, but it makes sense within the context of the story. That's a great Kraven. Look at that. Beautiful. But not as beautiful as Elektra. And I must gotta say, it was kind of, it's a bit of a risk to make her Daredevil during this time when Matt Murdock was in jail as Daredevil. But I think it really worked out, and I really do enjoy this design for her. And I'm also just glad that she got to have her big flowing curly hair, which was what Frank Miller originally drew her in. And over the years, she got different hairstyles, but the long curly hair will always be my favorite. Chris, you always forget why Kraven's alive current can. I'm not sure. I don't know why Karen's alive either. She didn't blind herself before using the name poser. Oh, I forgot. In this trade. Oh man, if only we can move it a little bit to the left. Oh, sad. But in this also trade, it also includes a bonus issue of Electra 100. Let me see if I can find the cover for that. It was like a special anniversary issue. Well, look at this right there. Look at this beautiful image of Daredevil and Elektra in their traditional costumes. Very, very well done. I do love that one of the things explored in this miniseries is Elektra knows, like, I like how because she narrates throughout the story. I love how she has to, no, not how she has to, that she feels so much attraction for Matt Murdock, even though she knows, like, both of them are not good for each other. You know, from Matt's perspective, she's not good for her, and from Elektra's perspective, he's not good for her. But yet they have this almost primal force that just brings them together, no matter what happens. But of course, tragedy always ends up occurring when they are together. But let me see if I can find that. Where is that cover for that Electra 100? Oh, and there's a variant cover from John Romita Jr., JR. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Johnny, 8% of couples I know aren't good for each other. Oh, that's funny. I'm trying to find this page. Yeah, it has to be before. Oh, I think it's. Let's see. I'm trying to. Oh, yeah, I have to go back here. Oh, hey, there we go. There we go, Johnny. That's for you. Enjoy this very weird design of Typhoid Mary. That's for you, good sir. And also weird design for Elektra. I wonder which era this was in. I would not be surprised if this wasn't the 90s. Back when Daredevil was wearing that armor and he was French, I think. There it is. So this is the bonus issue, Electra 100. It's just an anthology of various different writers and artists making a story around Elektra. Johnny, man really has an iron grip of the best rain penciler of all time. Oh, going on JR. That's right, he has that famous Spidey art of Spidey in the rain, which is also pretty good. Hello, Noise of the Cure. Thank you for joining the stream. My name is HAC. This is a unique episode of the JAC show. I'm just showing up a lot of the things that I've been watching, playing, reading, listening over the past week, and this is my first time doing a live mobile stream. So I hope you are enjoying the show. I said another dare. I didn't say really say much, but the whole point of this is that it's a good, number one, great art. Very amazing art for Delator. A great, kind of almost like a character introspection on Elektra and of herself, her morals, and her relationship with Matt. And plus, it's a good, it also is a good, I'm trying to find the right words here. It's a build up to the Big Devil's Reign event. So I'll put that aside for now. And I think I missed your comment. Let's see if I can. So far, I'm trying to be careful here. I don't know. Wow, your comments just appear and then they disappear, so I have no way to actually read them. Oh, there it is. You know whose art they make? See a good Deathstroke. Unfortunately, I don't own any Deathstroke comics, so sorry about that, good sir. He's not really a character that I'm really interested in reading. But we're gonna take a break from the comics a bit, and we're gonna go to. So this will be a short one too. So this is my Switch Lite that I do play regularly, and there's actually been 2 games that I've been playing. You can see my reflection there. Deadpool villain. I'm gonna assume you're kind of trolling. You're kind of trolling there, unless there's actually someone called Death Stork. Is there someone actually called Death Stork? I don't read Deadpool either. I thought you were saying Deathstroke. Anyway, I don't want to get distracted by that. So this is like a quick and easy. I can lock it real quick. I've actually been playing 2 games. Mega Man Legacy Collection and Fast RMX. You can see it. Maybe you can see it better here. There you go. You can see some of the games I played. By the way, put a lot of time into Picross. I put in so much time into Picross, you don't even know. Am I excited for Logan, the film? I mean, I've seen Logan, but that was like almost like 8 years ago, man. Mega Man's been playing you. Okay, so just so this has actually been pretty recent in the past like 2 days. I booted up Mega Man 1 and I'm actually almost near the end of the game. Oh, you mean the Wolverine game? Yes, also hey go. We're in the hack cave. You mean the Wolverine game? Oh, okay, okay. No, you're kind of confusing me a bit. I, I'm not personally excited, but it does look pretty good. I'm hoping it is a good game and that the people who do play will enjoy it. I don't have any means to really play that at the moment, and it looks like a game that I will enjoy once it goes on sale. I mean, to be pretty honest, there's nothing really unique about it. Not unless it's a really good action game. Anyways, so aside from Mega Man, which I'm almost done with Mega Man 1, which is surprisingly easier than the rest of the Mega Man games, but not as refined. So it's a lot of Mega Man 1 is a rough game to go back to, but it's very much playable. Now, after the Sonic Crossroads stream, I really had an hankering to play racing games, but I didn't want to play a kart racer. I'm trying to get this on camera. I don't want to play another kart racer, so I decided to play some RMX, which is the updated Switch release of a game called Fast Racing Neo, which came out on the Wii U, which I did own. Basically, this is like this. Think of this as your modern day F Zero slash. Was it Wipeout? Ah, what was it? It was an arcade game. We were in hover vehicles in a way, but that's kind of like F Zero, but not really. Well, the point is, it's something I've been playing a lot, and man, this game is both fun but also challenging. But what I do like about it, because it's like each cup is just 3 races, you can finish each of those races in less than 10 minutes because that's how fast the vehicles are going. So it makes for one of those games that's just very quick and easy to play for me. In between any type of long RPGs or big games that require a lot of tremendous time and dedication, I can just play a little bit of either Mega Man or Fast RMX and get some good fun within like 10 minutes or less. So it's been good to play. It's been good as like small games to play in between some of the big ones. Speaking of big, not yet, but see that manga right there? See it? Yeah, you see it. We'll come to that soon enough. Gotta save the best for last. But we're gonna transition to from games to music. So as you might, so it's actually 3 vinyls under here. Is what I got very recently. So first off, this is an album from the British band The Kinks called Low Budget. Now, I don't actually know too much about the Kinks, aside from that they were part of the British invasion of the 60s. So, they got popular around the time of the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and all of that. It's not it's not a flexing stream. This is nothing to flex about. I got this for like, including shipping, because I also eBay, it's just like less than $10. Ain't no flexing over here. This is like more like a show and tell. But in any case, reason I got this I got this record, even though I don't listen to the band, was because I listened to one of their songs very much, and is this song right here that he could I'm try to there we go. I wish I could fly like Superman. I've been listening to that on YouTube a lot. It's a great song, very fun song, and I was like, you know what? Let me listen to the rest of the album, and Johnny, I think you will enjoy the very first track, Attitude, only because it's a song. Number one, it's a very like fast paced song, and it's a song about a guy complaining that how his woman's giving him attitude. That's literally what it's about. But I need to listen to a bit more because I did listen to all of it, but it hasn't really uh committed to my memory. So I have to re-listen to it to see what else I other stuff I can hear. But I am very much enjoy it, and plus again the song "Wish I Could Fly Like Superman," very fun, very groovy. I much enjoy it, and also for some reason, the song "Catch Me Now I'm Falling." Also, that's another comic reference. You get Superman in this song, and for some reason on this song you get Captain America. At least that's what I think they're saying. I think they're saying Captain America. They're British. It's hard to tell their accents sometimes. Put that away. Speaking of the British, can't get more British than James Bond. This is from one of Roger Moore's really good Bond films, Spy Who Loved Me. As you can tell, certifiably used. Whoever owned this really used it, but the record is still in great condition. So, nice. The right here. And I actually got this because number one, I do love this Bond film, and I do love the opening track, which is "Nobody Does It Better" by Carly Simon. Very great Bond theme. You should listen to it. And but not just that, the actual score, the film score for this film, I also very much enjoy. Has a lot of the imagine like a lot of the 60s spy music tropes mixed with the 70s disco or funk groove. It's very fun, and I very much enjoy what they have here. And if I remember, it's been a while since I've seen A Spy Who Loved Me. I think this took place in somewhere in the Middle East, and I'm not just saying that because I see a camel right here. I should rewatch it. Admittedly, while it's a good Roger Moore era Bond film, it's not the one I've seen the most. That honor will have to go to Live and Let Die. That one I have seen. Like that's one of the Bond films I've seen a lot because I just love it. It's a Bond blaxploitation film. What more can you not love? And finally, to end off the music section, we have what I actually have currently in my record player now is the greatest hits of Simon and Garfunkel. So more 60s artists. This time is just a compilation of all their big hits. Bridge Over Troubled Water, Mrs. Robinson, and of course The Sound of Silence. Yes, that meme song, which you know what? I'll say it here. I do not like the Disturbed cover, and it kind of upsets me that for certain audiences that cover is more famous than the original, and that's only because the Disturbed cover rendition of that song, "Sound of Silence," is just what was it? It misses the point of why it's called "The Sound of Silence." And also, I see your two phones. I don't know if you want a Deathstroke, Teddy. You might have to go to comic conventions for that. That's not really a cute character if you want that. And also, no, come on, they're just two guys hanging each other. Granted, they eventually not. Granted, they eventually stop working with each other near the end of their careers, and one of them ended up becoming a bigger artist. But not like it's fairly normal. There's more like other vinyl records or suspicious album covers than this one's. In fact, in the thrift store that I got this and the James Bond album, I'm sorry, not thrift store, a flea market. I kid you not, there was like a dark black vinyl that just had the words Lucifer and Black Mass. I was tempted to record it is. Who knows? Maybe it's something demonic. You never what you could find in a in a flea market run by Mexicans. Certainly not a lot of media stuff. I'll tell you that much. I was actually lucky to find stuff like this. Edo says, "I feel that about Hendrix all on the Watchtower, not because nothing against a song was overplayed." Yeah, I remember you telling me that. And it has its place, and in many ways, it is much more improved over the original Bob Dylan version. But it does lose a lot of the themes and messaging that the original had. But it replaced, you get sick Hendrix guitar, so I think it evens out. All right, now time for the big one right here. So I have mentioned this on and off, and I briefly talked about it on X, but here it is. This is Triton of the Sea. This This is a big old manga. Look at that. This is 19 chapters. Not all of them equal pages, but 19 chapters of Osamu Tezuka's Triton of the Sea. And it's just volume 1. I have volume 2, which I will read sometime in the future. But this actually took me all of the entire month of September to read. Like I said, pretty thick book, as you can see, with all the great Tezuka art. And yes, Tezuka is the goat. He is de facto the goat of not just manga art, but just comic art in general. Honestly, right up there with Jack Kirby and Mobius, in my personal opinion. Although that should be more so as a fact. I mean, you can't without him, manga as we know it wouldn't exist as it is today. Same thing with anime. Anyways, so this is actually a very unknown work of Tezuka. It's not Astro Boy, it's not Blackjack, or or Kimba the White Lion. So what is this? So what is this? Why does this boy have no toes? Or he does have toes? Or actually, now I'm looking at it. Wait a minute. What is that supposed to be? Oh wait, wait. Never mind. I see it. So he has his foot's here, then he has his foot right there. Okay, never mind. I had to really pay attention to where the leg placement were. This dolphin was in the way. Okay, what this is. So in bare bones, this is basically Aquaman. However, it is not calling it just Aquaman is not very accurate. But it has a similar premise of Aquaman in that the main character is a aquatic being who can live on land. He looks human. He lives among human, and when he gets older, he returns to the sea to be with his people. And very similar to Aquaman, and he can communicate to fish. Uh, Also like Aquaman, although he actually does like talk to them because the fish talk back. They have in this world, aquatic beings have intelligence, so it's not like a situation where he influences the fish. But again, that's just surface level traits. This actually is about, it is a long epic, very long, about. There you go. It's a very long epic that details a story of a young baby born into a village, and his appearance simply is seen as a curse as he brings destruction and strife to the local village, but the family that adopts him doesn't want to abandon him. So, over time, they move away from a small village in Japan and live into the metropolis of Tokyo. And this is a this was a contemporary comic for its time in terms of the setting. So this is late 1960s Tokyo, and Tezuka is not shy about how kind of a sleazy city it was during this time, because for the first few chapters, because the main character is still just a baby, you actually follow his adopted family and you see their struggles of them trying to survive and live as they adopted this young strange boy into their family, that being Triton. Eventually, once the boy grows older, because he ages differently from humans, he ages pretty rapidly. So, if I recall correctly, like in 5 years, he becomes 15 years old. So every human year is like 5 years for him. So he ages pretty quickly. So the story transitions from the family, then focuses on Triton and learning about who he is, where he came from, and why is he the he is the last member of his clan. Because one of the big world being aspects is that in this world, uh, these higher aquatic beings exist, and there's this whole aquatic society. In fact, you can see here, this is one of them. he is an ongoing antagonist throughout this book. If I remember he has a pretty weird name. So for it's like if let me see if they mention it here. Da, 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 da. Do they say it? Ah man, I forget his name, but like I forget his name, but he becomes like an annoying thorn on Triton, as basically the seas are ruled by Poseidon. Now it's not the Poseidon, not the Greek god, but a a ruler of the seas called Poseidon, and what he wants to do, and oh no, and he controls the seas with an iron fist, and he has a very strict dictator type of society. And in the past, the Poseidon actually he committed, and I say this word because the word I'll say here is because what actually happened. Poseidon committed genocide against Triton's people, who were also called Tritons. So Triton is the name of the character and the name of his clan. He committed genocide against his entire clan because they didn't want to not they don't want to follow Poseidon, and as well they were trying to progress society, and he saw that their new ideas were a threat to the control he had over the beings of the sea. So he kills all of Triton's people, and baby Triton, our main hero, he is the last survivor. And so now he grows up, he learns of this, and he vows revenge on Poseidon to for what happened to his clan. And the majority of the story of the chapters past once you pass the beginning portion is Triton on this journey of revenge. And the first goal he does is that he goes and Triton's first goal in the beginning of the story is that he is going to kill all of Triton's children, which that equals, if I remember, is like Triton. I'm sorry, all of Poseidon's children. Let me correct myself. And Poseidon has 33 children. Now the book doesn't like showcase every single um, offspring of Poseidon that Triton kills, but it does highlight the very important ones. But that's like the main thrust of this story is Triton living his life as essentially like a teenage weird half fish, half man being while going on this revenge quest. In fact, right here in this chapter that I'm in, is just one of the battles he has with one of Poseidon's children. You can see here Triton going inside the shark. So one of the things about this comic is that it is Tezuka's art through and through, and it's a very epic story. It's to be a serious story. It deals with serious themes, but because he has a very cartoony art, I think it's the best way to describe it. Sometimes the serious ones that are depicted can be tonally, can be a bit of a tonal whiplash. So right here, one of Poseidon's kids tries to have the shark eat him, and Triton goes inside the shark and just stabs him inside of his belly to survive. There you go, just showing a lot of this cool artwork. So as silly as it can be, the artwork is still very good for its time, and while deceivingly simple, Tezuka uses his simple designs to focus more on making characters that are very expressive and also look very unique and different. There he goes. There we go. Yeah, here it is. So right there, that is Poseidon. This bull, this almost like this beast-looking thing with horns. That's Poseidon, and that's one of his daughters right there. And I think that's like one of his advisors or counselors or something like that. And like I said, it took me this whole month to read. It's a very long book, and there's many subplots that go on because the main plot is Triton taking his revenge, but other things happen too. You get eventually Triton meets a another one of his kind was actually a lady, not a lady, but actually a little girl who who's also a Trident clan member. So he turns out that he's not the last one, but he has to deal with, okay, I need to look over this, essentially this baby girl, because she is my people, and also she's extremely annoying, and she gets herself in danger. And I do find it funny that it's just one of like, there's also humor in this book. It's not all serious. uh the Triton girl that Triton finds, Pippi, that's her name. Maybe I could try to see if I could find her. Pippi is, number one, she was raised by birds, so initially she just knows only how to speak like a bird, but eventually Triton teaches her how to actually talk. That's not her. That's like one of the human characters he befriends, one of Triton's early love interests that sadly ends in disaster. I'm trying to find Pippi. Pippi, where are you? Pippi. I'm calling to her as if she's gonna come out of the page. I know she's in this chapter somewhere. Gotta, if I remember, I think she had to go in. Triton orders her to go into hiding because of the villain here. He finds her hideout. There she is. There you go. She has. All right. So one of the lore things about Triton's people is that the men can pass off as human, but the women are actually mermaids. So that's Pippi right there. There she is. She's a bit of a brat, but she has a good heart, and she is, and because she's a little bratty child, she wants Triton's attention all to herself, and it is very endearing. So I said, if it was only me, one other human left in the world, I'd just say we had a good run, and the last one to leave, turn off the lights. Oh, John. Well, no, you got to become the new Adam and Eve, or in this case, the new Sea Adam and Sea Eve, since they're all fishies. So I said this in my ex, but I want to reiterate it again. There is this manga has a lot going on. It has family drama, family tragedy. It has action. It has science fiction, a bit of fantasy. It has, of course, comedy. It is, at times, it also has a bit of political commentary of uh, of that time, especially in 1960s metropolitan Tokyo. It has a bit of satire, although that's pretty early on. Uh, but definitely when you read the book, it is, you can you can surmise that Tezuka is making a big statement about totalitarianism, and as well the, you know the consequences of revenge, because Triton is a pretty young kid. He's like a teenager, and he's thrust into this big adventure to take revenge on his people. And at many points, that goal comes into conflict. One of the big examples being that not all of Poseidon's children are necessarily evil or morally abhorrent. So throughout it, Triton is put into these a few times in these moral quandaries about, should I continue my quest for revenge? Ultimately he does, because his people, were killed off to existence, but it is also a story of him learning and maturing and growing past those that gut feeling of wanting to take revenge against the world, essentially. Now, with at the end at the end of the book, the status quo does change. In fact, there's actually a lot of status quo changes throughout it. You have, yes, trying with his family, then he departs with his family, and then eventually he has to, by the end of the series, the human family that he grown to love and bond with, um, he has to eventually abandon them because he realizes very he realizes late in the story that this the journey that he's in and the goals he does will not only will put the people he loves in danger, but it is something that he doesn't want his family to be a part of, and especially his adopted human mother, who is he the most emotionally attached to. And that was very much a sorrowful read when Triton said his last goodbyes to her. And it's in hindsight, it's kind of sad because the she called Martha. You see the parallels, don't you? Oh, Ghetto says it's different compared to Astro Boy. Take a start some chat. Thoughts of the world pods. I have to recut quickly. The chat just kind of comes in and out every time you guys message. Yeah, it's very much different. Again, you can glean some political messaging, at least a little bit in certain chapters, but uh, they're mostly done in the Tokyo chapters when you're following Triton's human brother and just a lot of the seedy corruption that was going on in Tokyo at that time. But it doesn't get more than that, like in terms of commentary on society and all and so forth. At the end of the day, it is focused on telling this fantastical revenge story that takes place all over like Japan and the Pacific Ocean. Anyways, well, to get back to the point, there's a lot of status quo changes as you read through the chapter, and by the end of it, it really does end up becoming Triton against the world. Because as he escalates, when he kills each higher ranking sibling within Poseidon's family, and by extension also his army, Poseidon continues to use his influence to find ways to get rid of Triton. And by the end of the manga, it is literally him and his small but supported group of dolphins. By the way, a lot of dolphin killing in this manga. And Tezuka is not shy by showing them being cut up and bombed and shot. It's funny enough, like uh, it's not cartoony violence, but it's also not realistic. So there's no blood and guts, unless a little blood here and there. But you do see animals being cut in half or shot through, and it's taken very seriously. But then there's also some points where a lot of cartoonish stuff does happen. So it's very much it's very much a mixture of a type of cartoony, but yet also very serious epic storytelling. So I can't wait. So hopefully, not hopefully, but I need to plan soon to read Volume 2 while the story is still fresh in my mind. And I also want to highlight that this manga adaptation would not exist if not for, you see it right here, the camera can focus. Come on. Kickstarter. So yeah, this manga, at least this physical manga would not exist if not for Kickstarter, which kind of crazy for me that this is Tezuka they're talking here. This is the Godfather of manga and anime, and they needed to do a Kickstarter to publish one of his more bigger and complete works. I mean, I know it's not Astro Boy, but come on, no one wanted to give the money to support a project like this. Ah, well, at least it exists. I would do want to highlight though that the translation is good. For the most part, it is good. But there are some editing errors that you really don't want in a big book like this, especially from a major manga creator. But the editing errors that are there, they're not detrimental, and it happened like in a few pages. But because everything is so well done, they actually do stand out, and I kind of have to like do a double take and read the panel or the page just in case I'm like, wait, is this how it's supposed to be read? So it exists, but it's not something too detrimental. It's just kind of wish this had more professional editors on it. And yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, Johnny. A lot of people don't know about this. It had like one anime back in the '60s, but unlike Astro Boy, it never got brought over to outside of Japan. The and I only got this because uh, this was one of the last books in an old. There was a comic shop that used to be very close to where I live, but unfortunately it shut down. And during its final days, when it's doing its closing sale, this was one of the final books still left on the shelf after about a few weeks or month when they're trying to liquidate all the inventory. This and the second volume were one of the mangas that were left. So I got it at a stealing price. I just wish it wasn't at the cost of the whole store. But hey, at least I have it and I got the full story. So there you go. Comments. A couple classic manga got translated officially years ago, but a bunch of them didn't finish due to them not being popular over here. We still don't have an ending for Cyborg 009. Really? That's a shame. I imagine it's probably true for a lot of classic anime and manga. Well, what can you do aside from learning the language? But that's a bit too much dedication. Maybe just the right amount. Something to ponder. But with that, that's really all I have to do to share with you guys for what I just been up to in my off time. And I hope you guys enjoy the stream again. Very different from what we usually do. And if you enjoy this, let me know. Every once in a while I could pop up my camera out, wear my good gloves because my hands are not. You don't want to look at my hands, and John, I see it. Any case, if you guys if you enjoy this, really do let me know. I would love to do more like this, and I do want to do more actual filming and recording, at least for my solo channel. I don't want every episode of the HAC Show to be like this. This is just more like a one-off experiment that I'm hoping. So far, I'm glad it is going much better than I anticipated. Well, yeah, there. Well, yeah. Oh no. Oh, we got a little bit of foot there, a little foot action, but none of that. You don't get to see my feet. Chris, yes, we enjoyed this hack. We must have more tales from the hack cave. Well, you know what? I can make this a regular thing on my solo channel. Since that'll be more inappropriate for me to do this type of stuff. Or actually. Actually, may have to do it. May have to do it here because since my solo channel is still small, I don't fit the prerequisites to unlock stuff like this. So, I'll put a tab on this. This definitely won't be the last time, but it'll have to be a while to the next one. Maybe when JAC's unavailable again. I don't know. Any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. That's right, 5 subs from 200 for this channel. So yep, let's. Obviously we will have to put out more streams and shows to get those numbers up. But we're there, and if you guys haven't noticed, the Saint Seiya video is already up in the 700 views. So you know what? I'm happy about that. My Saint Seiya video is all 300 away from having 1,000 views, and that will be pretty neat. That'd be a lot more people knowing more about Saint Seiya than the average anime fan. Oh, you do? Oh, you check on that, Johnny? I am glad. My people, yes, yeah. All of Latin America, well, not all of it, but Latin America really showed up. If only the video was in Spanish, then the numbers will be real big. But sadly, my Spanish is about as bad as, well, it's just bad. There's no metaphor here. No, Chris, I am no Saint Seiya expert, not by a long shot. If anything, in this audience, Johnny's more the expert just because he's been exposed and he watched more of it. I still got a long ways to go before I call myself that. But I do want to end it off a real quick announcements. I will be live again on Friday to finally actually finish Mega Man 5. Ugh, that game really did frustrated me. So that will be going on this Friday. Virgo is planned to be on board, but things could happen. So Uh, so beware of them. Get us SNK Mazinger Z SNK. I mean, I'm just getting into Gundam. You get to hold up on the Mazinger Z. As far as SNK, there's already people who've done SNK retrospectives, both in English and Spanish. I don't know what I could add to that. But anyways, that's the end. That's the end of my stream. Thank you everyone for enjoying it. Thank you for everyone giving it a like. And until then, no more episode next week. But until then, this is HAC. Sign out.